Welcome to part 2, where we're going to talk about tips, tricks, things that I've implemented, business, empathy, the combination, and some more fun stuff. So let's get into it. Is being empathetic hurting your business? That is a very valid question, because anyone who knows what it's like to be empathetic a lot of the time do things that will benefit the other person, because we have empathy to a very, very deep level. Empaths and highly sensitive people, if you know one right now and you're listening to this being like, I know somebody like this, or if that is you, I'm sure you could agree that you or the person you know is a very loving, caring, nurturing, supportive, generous type of person. And those are beautiful, beautiful qualities that more people probably wish they had. Because those qualities come forward first, that could potentially sometimes maybe affect your business. So now that you know a little bit about the background of what someone feels as an empath or an HSP, imagine if the person feels so much but has to put their business hat on. How challenging or easy do you think that is for that person? When they go through life daily acting on emotion and care and sensitivity and feelings, when you have to transfer over into the business side of things, imagine what that could be like. So with my videography business, I've encountered many, many different people, many, many different jobs. Early on, I realized, like when I first started, I'm like, oh boy, like I need to learn how to manage my emotions and manage my empathy, because I'm gonna get walked all over if I don't. I've had great people in my life that help guide me and are really good at that, so that's a huge plus. I so admire people that have like their business hat and their personal hat, and they could just switch onto the business hat and it's what they need for the job, the price they need for the job, how they wanna go about it, and not have to think or feel what the client is thinking and feeling. I really admire that. I wish to be more and more like that. I feel like there are two sides of the spectrum. Let's say this side is the empathetic side, empathy, apathy, okay? For both people, we want to strive to be in the middle to live a balanced, healthy lifestyle. For people that are more on this half of the spectrum, they probably don't even have to really set boundaries because it's already within themselves. For example, for these people, they don't have to learn how to be caring and loving and emotional and sensitive and tend to people's emotions. You know, we know how to do that. We don't know how to do this. These people probably don't have the characteristics that these people have. So, and then there are probably the people that hover around the middle, that I would say are like the healthiest people. You know how to be emotional, but you also are like, I know how to like have my boundaries. For people like me, I want to migrate more to the center. The first tip that I have for you that I'm personally implementing is trying to let things roll off of me. So like a duck in water, okay? You obviously want to acknowledge what's being said, but you don't want to take it on. And so I know that's like obviously easier said than done. You're like, how do you do that? If like you've been doing this your whole life, how do you just stop? So whenever something's being presented in front of me and I want to try to let it roll off my back, something that is really great to say that my cousin actually taught me is that is their journey. That's their journey. That's not my journey to feel that. That's not my journey to feel that pain. If you want to feel happiness, that's a different story, and that's great, and I could bask in happiness with you, and I feel like that's all right. But I think step number one is to not bask in people's pain and depression or anxiety and take that on. That's just going to increase that in myself. Let's say somebody in front of me is telling me something that they're really upset about, or that they've been really depressed over, or they're actually feeling depression, and I start taking that on, I'm gonna start feeling depression. And it may not be long term, but it may be for that day, for 5 hours, for an hour. Can you see how this could really, really be draining? We need to manage this. So that is the first thing I like to say is, you know, I'll whisper it to myself, like that's their journey, like not taking that on. I like to say I'm not taking that on, and that's their journey. And that's not my journey. All of those, they really like help remind me and kind of rewire my brain to be like, we're not doing this. Like, no, we're not taking this on. No, thank you. Next. So that brings me into tip number 2, which is realizing what people in your life that you know, family members, friends, whatever it is, that emotionally drain you. And it's not a shot at, your family or your friends. It's not a diss to them. It's what is the reality of their energy mixed with your energy? Does this plus this equal I'm feeling really good? If that's the case, check, keep that around you. But if it's not, and you recognize, whenever I leave his house, I'm like, I don't feel good. Like, I just want to be alone and crawl in a ball. So what I'm saying is we have to recognize how we feel after certain people around us. Obviously, we cannot control everybody that walks into our path during the day, but family and friends where you generally know their tendencies or their energy, their vibe, for empaths, you really got to protect that. Another tip that I have is planning for when you are feeling emotionally overloaded. So what do you do in that case? If you feel throughout the day like I am just feeling it, like I'm feeling it, I cannot wait to get home, like have your little self-care routine, have the things that you like to do to unwind. If that's being alone, I've really come to enjoy that, and I think it's because I've realized that processing and working through the emotional overload is great to do by yourself, because that's a great way to recharge. So what do you do when you're emotionally overloaded? Prepare for it, have your game plan, and I think that's a great way to help manage. So when I was doing my research over the last years and recently on empathy, one of the questions that came up in a blog that I was looking at was, do empaths cry a lot? And the answer was yes, they cry a lot. They cry when they are frustrated and overwhelmed, especially, and of course happy and sad. People who don't cry often and aren't very emotional are gonna think that's extremely weird and may think that that is weak, that is not normal, but I assure you, it is a thing. It is a thing that is proven, and it is how we process emotions. And that brings me to my last point for this video. My friend Elaine posted something on Instagram and I saw it and I was like, oh yes. And it said, you're not too sensitive, you're not overreacting. If it hurts you, it hurts you. This is something that I so believe in. I think that a lot of us empaths or highly sensitive people feel we have to justify why we are upset about something or crying about something. There's all this justification that we feel we need to do because some people around us don't understand it or are on more this side of the spectrum. If something hurts somebody, it's not because it is right or it is not right. It is just what it is. I think this is a good reminder to people out there that are not empaths. We all are born with empathy. Empaths just have it to an extremely deeper level, and that's the main difference, okay? So if you're not an empath and somebody in your life is hurt by something and you can't understand why, maybe they have empath tendencies, maybe they are one, maybe they are just a highly sensitive person. I love self-awareness. I love talking about this stuff. I think it is great to have better relationships and a better quality of life. So this is why I wanted to do that video. Thank you so much for watching part 2 in this empath series. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel or liked this video, please do so because it will really help push this video out and get in front of other people who maybe could benefit from it. So I would appreciate it so much, and I will see you in my next video.